Now level 3 is all the stuff you cannot see on video or photo. Okay, that means all the pressure points where you're squeezing the bike. Also, like, for example, pressing down on the grips is something that you should spend a lot of time doing instead of pulling in many cases, okay? And also where there's joint looseness and joint tightness, and also cues for correct posture, like things you should keep in mind when you're riding. Okay, so that's all level 3. And then level 4 is the variations of pressure points and looseness and tightness. Okay, because for example, in the standing body position, in the attack position, you're supposed to ride mainly with loose arms, but in some cases, if you're braking into a really bumpy turn, it can make a lot of sense for your safety to actually grip tighter, so you don't have the handlebars being blown out of your hand or shaken out of your hand. Okay, and what's really funny about level 3, by the way, is that a lot of beginners, they do the exact opposite of what you're supposed to be doing. I'll also use my drawing here to explain that in just a minute. But first, I'll remind you to subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that so you can see level 4 as well, which will be coming up soon. And in case you're new to the channel, I'll just introduce myself shortly. So I'm the head coach of 2-time TripAdvisor award-winning training camp, Motocross Phuket. And I've coached over 1,000 clients, so I have a lot of real-life experience teaching, especially entry-level riders. And that makes me pretty experienced in explaining things in a simple way, okay, and step by step, okay? Also, I've studied nanoscience, which makes me pretty good at understanding the physics of riding technique, which I can see is something unique. If I compare myself to other YouTube channels, they usually struggle when it comes to explaining the actual physics of riding technique. And lastly, I'm a race winner on my amazing Honda CR250 two-stroke, which also has race tech, suspension, and a really nice cone pipe. So it's basically like a dream project bike. Now, let's get started with level 3. So I'll tell you 3 different things about the standing position, okay? The attack position. Firstly, pressure points, and then looseness and tightness points in the joints. And then lastly, posture tips or posture cues. Tips for having correct posture when you're riding, things you can remind yourself, okay? So to show you exactly what I mean, I'll just jump on the bike. Okay, so here's standing in the attack position. As you've probably seen before, I'm standing on the balls of my feet, and 99% of my body weight is going into the foot pegs. But what you maybe didn't know is that about 1% or 5% of my body weight goes downwards into the grips. And this was something that I was taught by the top riders in my country when I did a masterclass in Denmark. That a difference between pro riders and beginners is that pro riders, they spend most of the time pressing down on the grips, especially if there's good traction. And beginners, they spend most of the time pulling the handlebars and getting arm pump and getting tired. I've also heard several American riders that are really good say that, well, you shouldn't get arm pump, or Jet Lawrence, for example. You shouldn't get arm pump if you do this correctly, because that will allow you to grip more gently and it will freeze up your arms, okay? So huge big takeaway from this video is to practice to ride most of the time with pressure down on the grips. You can also do a drill where you're riding with one hand doing this, okay? Next pressure point is of course with your knees and the whole inside of your legs, also the inside of the boot, squeezing against the airbox area or the subframe. It can also help to put your boot very tight so it actually is rubbing on the inside down here. Okay, so now I'm gonna talk a little bit about where to be tight and where to be loose. Okay, so basically you can divide the body into 2 halves, the lower body and the upper body. And the lower body, like from the core and down, is characterized by tightness. Okay, also with tightness with the legs connected to the bike. And then the upper body, like from the chest and the shoulders and elbows and even the hands, are characterized by looseness. This is so important to understand. So basically you have to allow the handlebars to move freely most of the time. So when you're going over bumps and stuff, you're completely unlocked. And now I'll tell you a tip that can help you do this even better. That brings me to the next one, which is posture cues or tips for good posture. Okay, and that is to ride with your chest up. Instead of being hunched like this, have your chest up, and that gives you a biomechanical advantage. So it unlocks your shoulder joints even more. and it prevents you from building up tightness in your arms. Okay, so try that. To watch the full version of my advanced riding videos and support the development of this channel, click the join button below and become a member. And thereby you will get access to exclusive videos where I go through the most advanced skill levels and also explaining things from a physics standpoint, because I have a background in science and thereby studying physics, so I'm able to explain actual riding technique and the mechanics of riding, also bike setup, in a way that you don't see on many other channels. Also, I share my own step-by-step methods on how I track my own progress and riding technique development. So if you're interested in that, consider becoming a member and clicking the join button. And if you like tropical island holidays, visit fitcamp5.com for my 2-time TripAdvisor award-winning training camp, where we train fitness and action sports together while learning to live a healthy lifestyle and, maybe most importantly, have fun at the same time. And if you're really serious about improving yourself, you should definitely check out my full online courses, where I share step-by-step programs on how I developed my own routines over the last 12 years as a CEO, working in 4 different countries, while being a successful competitive athlete with more than 20 years of experience in fitness and nutrition. Check the link in the description for that. And in any case, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, be awesome, believe in yourself, and see you on the next one.